Hello, I am back from the UK. I have been away for a month. It may not have seemed like that, except for those of you who are patrons, because our updates have been a little less jazzery in terms of the way we usually do our weekly updates on Patreon. You should check out my Patreon. We've amped up our weekly updates. Now we do like a newsletter, which is really easy to digest what's been happening in the studio, accompanied by a weekly video update, weekly newsletter, and weekly behind the scenes video and Q&A for the people second tier and above. So anyways, I am doing a vlog because when I got back, I opened up a box and it was like, whoa, what is this? There was a note, and it's from Sarah Renee Clark, which says that this is a top secret project that I've been working on all year, the Swatchdex. It's here to replace all those DIY swatch charts and random scraps of paper used to match your markers. Now, it says top secret, but it says I'm launching this publicly on the 5th of June. I've been away for a month. It is after the 5th of June, and obviously this won't be posted unless I will verify that it is public. So I'm gonna check it out. I'm about to record a sponsored video for Ohuhu. These are my favorite alcohol markers. I have the whole collection, and this is Honolulu Plus. Apparently they've improved the brush nib even further, so I'll check that out. And they've also got a brand new line of oil-based color pencils. The video is mainly like an art activity, but I'll sort of review them as I go. All right, Sarah, right off the bat, the packaging is sublime. Look at that little sheen glow on just the grid. That's very cool. I think this is a really cool sort of use case test scenario. You okay? All of these like markers and stuff, they usually come with swatch paper. But these ones, what is this? A coloring sheet to prevent bleed through. And here they are, swatch sheets. This is something that Ohuhu have always done, as far as I'm aware, is you get this sort of sheet ready to sort of take your marker. And which one's this? RV315. There it is. It's not particularly markery paper. You know, that's the idea. This is useful for like trying it out, seeing what they're like before you use them, but also you're not really going to hold on to it. I mean, I think some people make little swatch grids in the back of their sketchbooks. I personally, my habit has always been to make swatches on the side of the piece of art I'm working on at the time, as I sort of flick through pencils or markers to find the right color that I'm going to be working with next. So this is interesting. Like, will this replace that for me? Will I not have to do that anymore if I have a Swatchdex? I have no idea what this is. I have had no warning of this. Disclaimer, I was sent this, of course, and Sarah Renee Clark is my friend. So I'm probably not going to say mean things about it, but I don't think I would be compelled to, because she always puts out really high quality stuff. I mean, even this is the packaging. Interesting. I did not expect this. They're like index card clusters. These are 400 GSM, 24 strips per batch, and you've got 4 batches in the Swatchdex. This is so nicely put together. Well done, Sarah. I really admire the way Sarah Renee Clark does her products, and I have occasionally picked her brains about how she does it. I believe she like works directly with the manufacturers all herself. Like, this isn't through anyone. This is just like her color cubes, which I have beautifully on display in my office. Just really high quality. So I have no idea what to expect, and that's that. Okay, cool. So they're one-sided. There's nothing on the back. I'm sure you can use the back if you want to. There's a nice smoothness here. I'm used to working with marker paper. I have it set aside here for the video I'm about to record. You can't see it because of this video. It all just looks like paper. But this feels like silk, right? So when blending markers, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice a piece of marker paper here to educate you. And because I don't want to wreck my Swatchdex, I will use this bleed through thingy. So let's make a blend from my new Honolulu Plus that I actually want to see how they go. Let's do like a nice extreme blend. These are pretty colors, but they should work well together. Might take a little bit of work to blend together because they're quite different tonally in terms of like their intensity, but I trust that they will blend. So usually I start with the lighter color. I'll sort of go down, work my way towards wherever. Then I go in with the dark and go in that way, and then it's sort of a back and forth thing. So so you can see I've sort of lightly put down there. It looks a bit squiggly at first, but then you go back with the original color and sort of massage in and you can sort of see it softens and deteriorates that color a little bit. It sort of pushes in the saturation. This is why I love and always have loved alcohol markers so much, is because they are quite malleable. You can go in there and just really just back and forth between the colors and create this soft, nice blend between them. And it slowly builds up more and more saturation between them. It's more effective in more steps, but also if you can build up more and more layers. So that I've gone quite heavy there. I could go lighter and just do a couple of layers and focus more on the blending section in the middle. And as you can see, I've got like a more intense one. I've got sort of something a little softer, but it always works better if you have like a gradient of steps. So in this case, you know, a mid, a darkish, and a lightish. And it always works better if you start with the light, go to the mid, then the dark, then back to the mid and massage between the two, then back to the light and go over the whole thing. And then wherever you sort of see it needs a little bit more push and pull, you just sort of swap between those colors. And they build up really nicely and you get a nice gradient. Marker paper blends really well if it's thick and if it's smooth. Watercolor paper usually has more of a tooth to it, which gives the wetter, watery based liquid something to hold on to. So my observation with this swatch card that came with the alcohol markers is that it has a little bit of a tooth. It's pretty smooth. It's not marker paper smooth, but it is thick and would represent the colors fine. It'd be all right, but I wouldn't do art on it. All that is to say, this is somewhere exactly between these two. It's not quite super smooth, but it's got less of a tooth than standard cardstock or watercolor paper. So I feel like this would work well with markers. Now, 400 GSM, and apparently having been created to not have bleed through, is really good. In fact, I literally thought that was 2 pieces. That's 1. That is nice and thick. That is good. I haven't seen this be used. I haven't watched Sarah Renee Clark's reveals or anything. I'm just going to use this the way I would use it. And let's go with these yellow markers, right? My gut says I want to fill in this area, but as you saw with the little sample gradients I did here, these 2 swatches are the same 2 markers, but one's gotten quite a bit heavier, and that's simply because of how much I layered down those same colors. So with this, my instinct is for one swatch, like rather than to like have a bunch of different swatches on one thing, I would actually use the whole area and layer it up along as I go to add more and more saturation, so that by the end you can have one swatch and see like, okay, that on the left is what it looks like barely put down. That is what it looks like with like a lot down. So let's do the same again with a mid-tone. And then again with our orange. So I have those 3 colors down, and as you can see, I've got the lighter application all the way to the heavier application. That's really cool. The next thing I sort of want to do is have the application of the gradients just to sort of see them blending together. And there you go, I've got my labeled single colors, and then just a gradient which doesn't need to explain like from what color to what, because that's explained by whatever else is on that swatch. I love this. This is really cool. This is such a fun, simple product idea. Well done, Sarah. Oh, look at this. There's an instruction. Oh my God. Swatchdex is designed to be as flexible as your creative process. Here are some different examples of how you can use each swatch. Some include adding your own lines to separate sections for values or multiple colors. These are just suggestions. You can design the best swatch system for you. My instinct was follow this. What's interesting to me, actually, in the example, it's this way. That is up. And that makes much more sense. It's more comfortable flicking through like this in the same way that one flicks through cards. And I did sort of think going like that, I've written on the bottom left and I have to like swatch. I have to open all the way around to sort of get that. Whereas if it's like this, I'll be seeing it much easier. So should have read the instructions first, because that is a better way to do it. But also, I mean, not the end of the world. Look at this. It's not, this isn't a permanent structure. So it's like not permanently stuck that way. I just unscrewed that screw, and in theory, I can just remove that one, put this back together, and I don't have my upside down swatch ruining my future swatch pack. That it will loosen it up a bit because there is a cap, like it's obviously designed for the full 24 thickness. So the more you lose from this, the sort of more loose they'll become from each other. So obviously not intended to sort of do that, but doesn't mean you can swap them between each other, which is really cool. Let's go back to our instructions. Single color gradient, which I did. Single color per section, stepped gradient, multicolor gradient, which I did, one color on each edge, so sort of splitting it, single color different supplies, so pencils, markers. This is really cool. I like this. I am also messy, so while it didn't bleed at all, and in fact, if I take this, it's quite a heavy application, and like you have to hold it up to the light to sort of see the ink. So it hasn't bled at all, even though it was quite heavy. Really happy with that. But I am a messy beast. So because I was coloring up to the edge, I went over there. So having something like this, that's when it's sort of useful, because you can literally like pop it up under that page there. And even though I trust that it won't bleed, I can also more confidently keep my ink on a single page. So I can sort of treat this one as my spare pages one, open up a fresh one, and do a fresh page of swatches. So with my Swatchdex oriented the better way, I grabbed all of the blues in this 36 set of Honolulu Plus markers, which totaled to 6, and subdivided my top 3 rows. Now I really like having a single color gradient as a swatch, which is something I actually haven't had the luxury of doing in my swatches, because honestly I haven't had enough space. But having all of those 6 colors laid out in a way that I can see their minimal and maximal saturation is really cool. So I divided this into 2 groups of 3 colors that I thought would work well together in a gradient, and it's really clear to me which 3 of each go together for the gradient. As you can see with this first one, using the BV35, 414 and 315 creates a really nice sort of denim blue gradient from a light sky blue to a nice deep denim. And the other 3 create a really nice sort of oceanic deep blue. And I've just created this simple little shape signaling for myself by putting either a little dot or an X in the top left corner of each of my swatches and on the combined gradient. So I can look at the gradient and be like, hey, if I want that gradient, all I have to do is find the individual colors with that same dot, and it will be easy to sort of tell how many colors I used and which ones they specifically were, without needing to rewrite all those names out all over again. This is really cool. I like that. That is, I have never seen this done like this before. I am genuinely pleasantly surprised. Thank you so much for sending this to me, Sarah. Not only like is this like a really fun idea and inspiring to me as a product designer, but from an art standpoint, this is really practical. I can see how useful this will be. And in fact, it's worth showing you this. This is the only time we've really put the time into swatching. This is the entire set of Ohuhu Honolulu markers, which I reference all the time because I have the whole set of Honolulu markers and I use them often. And when I'm doing a whole day of like using alcohol markers, I will pull this down and sit it beside me because I will look for a specific color and I'll be like, okay, I want that one. But all of these are just like a single coat. So they go deeper than these saturations. That's just a single layer swatch for all of them. So if I'm looking for a specific tone, it might actually be one of these, but it might not be here because it's not as saturated as I might be looking for. But also it's overwhelming to have it all in the one place like that. Whereas I like the idea that you can literally flick through this and be like, okay, I'm looking for greens, and you'll probably have a few layers of your greens, you bring those together, and then you probably create combos between some of these where like whether you have this shape symbology thing or maybe you have a different code, but a way to sort of make other swatch pages that mix really interesting tones for really unique gradients. Maybe you stumble across one while you're making art and you're like, I love that gradient. There's like a Control S. You can like tuck it away for later with a really easy way to reference it, and it's so simple. Color me impressed. Also, just remembered from a while ago, Sarah Renee Clark set me up on her affiliate thing, which means I can plug this, and if you get it, I believe it supports the channel too. So that's really cool. There you go. Consider this a rave review. I'm genuinely, yeah, it's really fun, really simple, really effective, and really high quality. Not a touch of bleed through on that. And it even has its instructions. Love it. There you go. Random review now that I'm back. And I am back. So I'm hoping to do some vlogs more often now. Thank you for watching this video. I'll put the links to my Patreon, to this product in the description. So go check those out. I really have nothing else to add. And I'm definitely distracting myself because I have a whole dang video to record. And I haven't even shown you the oil-based color pencil. So I have some work to do. Thanks for watching. Bye.